Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. This is a Tariq lecturer in economics. My qualification, that is MSc in economics from International Islamic University, Islamabad. My experience as a lecturer, that is around about 10 years in Salam at the Faculty of Economics Department of BBA. I work here as a lecturer for 10 years. In this semester, we will study the subject business math. Before to start the course properly, let me discuss about some related study materials to the course business math. The book's recommendations are as given. The first one, Applied Mathematics for Business, Economics and Social Science, wrote by Mishkin. This is very rich book. It will not only help the students in mathematics, but it can help students in basic statistics concepts as well as financial accounting. So that is why the student has to purchase this book. I write some reference supportive books also. The first one, Mathematical Economics by Alpha C. Shang. The second, Mathematics for Business and Economics by Nicholson. And the third one, Mathematical Economics wrote by A. Hamid Shah. So the student has to read 3 to 4 books for a single topic to understand the things conceptually. Now we are proceeding toward the outlines of the course that we will cover in this semester, inshallah. So the first one, that is functions. Second, mathematics of finance. Third, the concepts of derivatives. Fourth, optimization methodology. Fifth, applications of the optimization methodology, and the last one, that is integration. Now we are starting our course from the very first topic, that is what is function. So function actually represent mathematical relationship between the two or more than two dependent and independent variables. I put here the mathematical notation for this function. As this is given, mathematical notation of the function y is equal to f of x. You cannot read y is equal to f times x. That is wrong. Y is equal to f of x, where y is the dependent variable existing on the left hand side of the equation function, and where x is an independent variable existing on the right hand side of the function. This if is name of the function. This if play the role to transform all the x values into y values. Let me describe simply that when we represent any economic or business theory or any economic or business principle mathematically in equation form, in mathematical formulation form, in mathematical notation form, then that economic theory, that economic principle is called function. That is why we can define function, that function represent mathematical relationship between the two or more than two dependent and independent variables. Let me define independent variable. Independent variable is that variable which is known to us, to which we assign value from our side. Usually we are using the symbol x for the independent variable, and this exists on the right hand side of the function or equation. Like for example, in this function, y is the function of f of x, x is independent variable. Now dependent variable which is unknown, that we have to find with the help of independent variable, and usually this exists on the left hand side of the equation. So this y is dependent variable exists on the left hand side of the function or equation, and this is unknown. We have to find using the values of independent variables. Now we are switching toward the constant function, types of functions. So the very first type, that is constant function, no relationship between the variables. If independent variable change but y dependent variable does not change, This type of function is called constant function. Slope of this function will remain 0. We put one example, y is equal to c, where c is any constant. And in the specific function y is equal to 10, we assign value to c 10. So simply, constant function is that function in which there is no relationship between the dependent and independent variables. If we increase independent variable along the x-axis, or we decrease independent variable along the x-axis, y will remain same, dependent variable will remain same, does not change. Now the second type of the function, that is linear function, the function in which the highest power of every variable is 1. Slope of the function is constant. Line of this function will be straight line. Is the independent variable change? Dependent variable will change by the amount of the slope of the function. So these are the features of the linear function. That linear function, highest power of the variable is 1. Slope is constant, graph must be straight line, and if we change x, so y will change by the amount of the slope of the function. Standard notation is y is equal to a plus bx. Sorry students, this is x, this is not y. This is independent variable, and we discussed that independent variable is x, and this locate on the right hand side of the function. So this is x, I'm again sorry, change it. This is dependent variable y, this is independent variable x, this is writing mistake. B is a slope of this function and a is the y-intercept coordinate. If we put this x0, we will find y is equal to a, and y-intercept point will carry two values. One is x0 and other is ya. So we write slope is b and a is the y-intercept coordinate. Coordinate mean y value. Now if in this function we increase or decrease the x value, so the y value will change by the amount of the slope b, which is currently unknown. Now let me apply example, linear cost function. Cost function describes the positive relationship between the dependent variable total cost of the company and independent variable output produced by the company. So there is positive relationship between the quantity produced and total cost. As the quantity increase, cost will increase. As the quantity decrease, cost will decrease. Standard form is total cost is equal to C0 plus BQ. And here this B is a slope, Q is independent variable, number of units produced, TC is dependent variable total cost, and C0 represent the total cost intercept coordinate. When the company increase output by 1 unit, this total cost of the company will change by the amount of the slope B. To solve cost function mathematical problem, let me discuss with you people the basics concepts of total cost. So cost actually the expenditures that businesses incurred, spend to purchase capital assets, raw material, hire labor, energy, cost, taxes, rent, interest, commission, license fee. These are all the expenditures that a businessman spend to manufacture output. So cost actually all the expenditures that the businesses spend to manufacture to produce output, that is called cost, and we categorize capital assets purchase, raw material purchase, wages, salaries, electricity cost, oil cost, paying taxes. These are all the expenditures that a businessman spend to produce output. Now I am dividing the total cost into two components, total fixed cost and total variable cost. Standard form of the cost function is total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. How we can elaborate total fixed cost? The cost which does not depend on the output produced. Company incurred this cost even at zero output level. Quantity is equal to 0. Like the purchase of machinery, equipment, building, offices, houses, license fee, paying interest to the bank, rent, furniture, these are all the fixed cost of the company. Fixed cost is that cost which does not depend on the output produced. The company is working or does not working, the businessman has to spend $1 million to install the factory. That installation cost, that is called fixed cost. Now we are switching toward the total variable cost. So the total variable cost directly depends on the output produced. Total variable cost is zero at zero output level, and as the company start manufacturing, so this total variable cost will also start, and total variable cost carry two components, labor cost and raw material cost, sales commission that we pay, energy cost. These are all total variable cost. When the businessmen start production, so total variable cost will also start to change, because when there is no output, so there is no need of inputs like raw material, like labor. There is no need to pay commissions to the salesmen. So these are variable cost is that cost which directly depends on the output produced. If output is zero, so no variable cost, but as the company start manufacturing, definitely the company has to pay the variable cost as mentioned. Now we are solving one problem. If the company is entrusted to manufacture Q number of units, total fixed cost is $1 lakh. Labor cost in the assembly department is $5 per unit. $3 per unit labor cost is in the finishing room, and in the packing department labor cost per unit is $2. Raw material cost per unit is $5. Now the first part of the question, if the company is manufacturing Q number of units, using the above information, develop cost function. In the answer, we know that cost carry two components, total fixed cost plus total variable cost, and I give this function the name capital A. Now total fixed cost, we know that is $1 lakh. This is very clear from the problem, mathematical problem. So I give this a small a name. This is fixed cost of the company. Total variable cost carry further two components, total labor cost and total raw material cost. So total variable cost, two components, labor cost and raw material cost. Total labor cost is equal to 5Q plus 3Q plus 2Q. What does this mean? This means that 5 is actually labor cost per unit in the assembly department, but company is manufacturing Q number of units. So 5 ZBQ represent total labor cost in the assembly department. 3Q, what does this mean? Where 3 is the labor cost but per unit in the finishing room, and the company is manufacturing Q units, so 3 ZBQ. 3Q is the total labor cost in the finishing room. 2 is the per unit labor cost in packing department, and Q represents the number of units that company is manufacturing. So 2 multiplied by Q actually is the total labor cost in the packing department. When we add them together, 5Q plus 3Q plus 2Q, we will find the total 10Q as a total labor cost. 10 is the per unit labor cost in all departments, and Q is the number of units, so 10 ZBQ. This represents total labor cost to manufacture Q units. Now total raw material cost. Per unit cost, that is $5, raw material cost per unit 5, but the company is manufacturing Q number of units. 5 ZBQ is the total raw material cost. Now total variable cost carry two components, total labor cost, total raw material cost. That is why we add them together, total labor cost plus total raw material cost, and that is why we develop another function, total variable cost, which is 15Q. Now to develop the cost function, we will put A, this fixed cost, and this 3 total variable cost in this A. So we will automatically develop the cost function. Total fixed cost is $1 lakh, total variable cost is 15Q, and we develop the total cost function and we give it name B. Now suppose second part of this problem is this: what is the total cost if the company is manufacturing 1000 units of output, quantity produced that is 1000. So simply how we can solve, we will simply substitute the number of units produced 1000 in the total cost function. Put Q is equal to 1000 in the function B. This is not equation, this is function. Total cost 1 lakh plus 15Q. 1 lakh plus 15Q. Again, here is one mistake. These are 3 zeros, not 4 0, because the total fixed cost is not 10 lakh, that is 1 lakh, and in here in the next line this is correct. So 1 lakh plus 15Q, that is the total cost. This is total variable cost 15Q, plus this is 1 lakh dollar total fixed cost. 15 is the per unit cost, including both raw material cost and labor cost, and the company is manufacturing Q number of units, so 15 ZBQ will define the total variable cost of the company. Total cost 1 lakh dollar, total fixed cost 1 lakh dollar plus 15. The company is manufacturing Q units, as we write, put Q is equal to 1000. So I am replacing for the quantity its value 1000, 15 that be 1000, 15,000, and total cost is $1,50,000. Now we are proceeding toward the what is total revenue. The inflow of money into the organization by selling a commodity and at some fixed price. This is called revenue of the company, but we will assume that prices remain fixed. So revenue means when the company manufacture a particular commodity and fixed a price for this commodity and then sell out in the market and collect some money, and that money came to the company, that inflow of funds, inflow of money while selling a product at some constant price, that is called revenue of the company. Now we will develop revenue function. Linear revenue function describe the positive relationship between the total revenue and quantity produced and sell out at some fixed price. Mathematical notation for the revenue function: total revenue is equal to price survey quantity, where P is the fixed price and where Q represents the number of units produced. I am again repeating, P is the price which is fixed, Q is the number of units produced. So linear revenue function, again this is a linear function. Total revenue highest power is 1, and all the variables in this revenue function carry highest power 1. Revenue is the function of both price and quantity, and here price is constant, so we can say revenue is the function of quantity. As the quantity increase, the company will produce more and more and sell out more and more. The revenue of the company will increase. Now we are switching toward the profit function. Profit is the function of output produced. Profit is total revenue minus total cost. This is the mathematical formulation. Pi is for profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost, and we give this function the name D. So now profit function. As revenue is the function of output produced, as total cost is the function of output produced, so we can say that profit is also the function of output produced. But profit to find, we will subtract total cost from the total revenue of the company. Now I am again referring back to the problem number 1, and we are solving the first part of the question. Develop profit function if the company is manufacturing Q units of output and selling price of the per unit, that is $20. So I write a note as profit function include both total revenue, total cost function. So we will develop revenue function and cost function one by one. As I told you that profit is revenue minus cost. So according to the question, to develop the profit function, we need both revenue function and total cost function. So total revenue function, that is very easy. Total revenue is equal to price Zarbi Q PQ. Total revenue is equal to P, we know that is $20 as this is, and now put for P 20 multiplied by Q, and total revenue is equal to 20Q, and we give this name 1. So this is actually your revenue function. Now the cost function we already developed, I think so. To be continued, put both 1 and 2 in the function D to develop profit function. This is 120Q, and this is actually minus 1 lakh plus 15Q that we already developed. So that this is the cost function that we developed in the previous slides. You can collect from there. So this is the revenue 20Q and minus TC we develop 1 lakh 15Q I take from there. So 20Q minus 1 lakh plus 15Q. Let me solve this. 20Q, we will multiply this negative sign inside. So 20Q minus Zarbe plus 1 lakh minus 1 lakh and minus Zarab plus 15Q minus 15Q. Now 20Q and minus 15Q both are like terms. Like terms means same thing in the sense that the highest power of the variable in both terms 20Q and 15Q is exactly same. That is why we can add them, we can subtract them, and we bring them together. 20Q minus 15Q minus 1 lakh. So 20 minus 15, 5Q minus 1 lakh, and we develop the profit function. Now I am interpreting this profit function. What does this mean? Here $5 is per unit profit. When the company will produce more and more and sell more and more, the company will earn a $5 profit for each unit produced. Interpretation, company is earning per unit $5 profit because the slope of this profit function is positive. This is plus 5Q. So slope is positive, means as the company produce more and more and sell and more, pi profit will increase and increase. Now second part of the question, what is total profit if company is selling 10,000 units, yani put Q is equal to 10,000. So we will put Q is equal to 10,000 in the E, which is a profit function, as this is pi is for profit, 5Q minus 1 lakh. So I am putting the value of Q 10,000 in this profit function. 5 Zarbi Q 10,000 minus 1 lakh. 5 Zarbi 10,000, that is 50,000 minus 1 lakh, and in here our profit is minus 50,000. Interpretation, profit is negative, it means that defined selling price and quantity are not correct. These are not equilibrium values. That is why our profit is negative. It's mean. Why profit calculated negative? This means that the price that the company fixed, selling price 20, that is less, or you can say that is very high. If this is less, again you are selling more but price is very less, that is why you are in losses. But if this is very high, again you will lose the customer, because when the price increase, quantity demand will decrease. That is why these are the possibilities that this price is not the revenue maximizing price. This is a very high price or very low price. So we are proceeding toward the quadratic function. Inshallah we will discuss in the next video.